Hello and welcome to Insights in Action with Orange 142, where we interview agency leaders and business owners to uncover the journeys, strategies, and insights that drive their success. At Orange 142, we're all about transforming brand stories into impactful digital experiences through innovative media and marketing solutions. And today I'm very lucky to be joined by Mario Mattei of Castleview. How's it going, Mario?
Really good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on. And Mario, I'd really love to just start this off by understanding a little bit more about you and your background and a little bit more about Castleview.
Sure. My background, long story short, I actually started off in my 20s as a designer, user interface designer, developing websites and animations, things like that. I got into photography, I got into writing. The photography and the writing merged into filmmaking, and I started getting client work. I was actually a world photographer living in Turkey. So I started getting client work with travel agencies and things like that. Ended up moving to Austin, Texas, and started a freelance career as a cinematographer and a director. And over those, whatever, 15 years, whatever it's been, just as a director, especially, I started to do direct to client work where I would go from script to screen, but I'd only do a handful a year. And I always knew that I liked it, but I really wanted to spend a solid decade really refining myself as a cinematographer and as a director. And then at the end of 2023, I decided it's time to start a production company. And so I started actually Achiever was the brand I had. And now Achiever is actually just the entity that owns the company I acquired, which is Castleview. Castleview was a company that I had done freelance work for about a decade.
Uh-huh.
And when I heard that they were selling, I was looking at what I was creating on my own, looking at what they were and had been for 10 years and what I could transform them to be. And I decided to do an acquisition. And so we talked for it took almost a year. And I started running Castleview at the end of 2024 in the fall. And then this year I actually took it over. So now I'm the owner of Castleview and I've got a lot of the same great team members and we're still doing everything we do, but we're also launching into new categories and doing new things.
I'm curious, what led to the transition, or
Yeah,
specifically, what's it been like stepping into ownership?
I really like it actually. I am a creative person. Everybody knows me as a creative person, but I've always been very business minded. And in fact, even when I was living in Turkey, I had a whole organization called the International Guild of Visual Peacemakers. We had a website with 30,000 members. People were sharing stories to elevate common humanity in places around the world where there was like tension. So I had a staff of 12 back then and all of that. And so I got a little taste for it there in my late 20s, early 30s. And it started to get to where I was just like the president of this company. And I was like, I really miss being a creative. So I'm gonna spend some time being a creative. So that's what I did. But it was always my long game was always to get to the point where, hey, when I hit my 40s and like my 50s, I don't want to be shouldering a camera, for some corporate event thing, right? Or like shouldering a camera on some reality show. I want to have a company that's doing great work for great brands where I can be like a creative director, steering it, growing up a team of people, the next generation of talent. And then also as a cinematographer and director, be able to pick and choose what I want to do and be like, hey, I'm going to do this feature film or I want to do this commercial. And
Yeah.
so it's really, I've heard it called the power of no. And so as a freelancer, it rises and falls, and you don't always have the power of no. You're
Right.
just like, yes, I'll take it because
Yeah.
there's no other income this month and I got to go do it. And so my long game has always been to break that through half owning a business and half being an independent cinematographer and filmmaker.
And so, just to get even a little bit more nuance in that, Mario, because I think you've got such an interesting story that not a lot of people have. But how do you balance these days the both of your roles as both a business owner and a creative, especially coming from that cinematographer and director background?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm still figuring it out. I'm still ironing out my processes. I would say that as a director and a cinematographer, I had a certain way of working with my calendar and Evernote, and I just have these systems for organizing my time and tasks.
Mm.
But taking over a company has required me to basically go full on into like operations. We have so many subscriptions to so many platforms. We're using Scoro, which is a business management platform for agencies. And so I've learned a whole bunch of stuff about Scoro and managing clients and projects and budget health and Gantt timelines, things
Yeah.
like that. And like I've done my own QuickBooks for 10 years, but like now taking on payroll is like a whole new level. And
Yeah.
I have spreadsheets for money management, but now they are 5 times more sophisticated than they used to be. So I really just built on, I always ran my freelance self as a business. So I built on that foundation. I just had to open myself up to what are these tools? How can AI help me? And just be open. There's going to be, there's learning curves. I'm surrounded by learning curves right now. And I find it really stimulating. So it's
Yeah.
fun for me.
Yeah.
I would also say too, for what I'm doing in Castleview really is like I'm the CEO and I'm the creative director. So I'm not, I told my employees, like I'm working on the business, not in it. So a lot of guys will be like me and they start their own business and they end up being like the center. I'm
Mhm.
not the center of Castleview. If
Mhm.
I'm needed to direct something specifically for a reason, I'll do it. Or if I need to be the cinematographer, I'll do it. But I have a great cinematographer. Adam is phenomenal. And Kyle is my director, writer, producer. So really, I'm working on the business, growing the business. And I like to just interface with the clients and figure out what's the problem they're really trying to solve, what's their like deepest need, and who is their audience. Thinking at that strategic level, and
Mhm.
like bringing the creative and just setting that creative direction, and then releasing my team to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm really, the roles are very different. So then when someone comes to me as a cinematographer, I put on my DP hat. It's completely different. Like it's
Mhm.
pre-production and scouting and shot lists. It's just completely different.
Yeah.
So the time management has been fine. Like, yeah, I think it'd be harder if I was trying to do the same thing in two different businesses, but I'm really not.
Right. Wow. And I want to just shift gears here for a second. Video is everywhere today, but not all video is effective. What makes a piece of branded video content actually perform?
I think you really got to know your audience.
Hmm.
I think I'm a big believer in pre-production, and actually, we just put out our own social media piece on Castleview about the importance of pre-production. It's like before you go on a vacation, it's like planning it all out. So for me, a lot of that is just understanding who is the audience, what do they care about, and so a lot of times brands will come to us, and I'm not naming names obviously, but it's like, hey, we want to show off like how awesome we are. We want to do a
Hmm.
promotional video. We want to be the hero in our own video. And really, I try to coach them and flip it around and say, actually, the hero is your client, it's your customer. They're the ones on a journey. The client and the customer is the one who's seeking transformation. They want something different. You're Gandalf. You're the mentor. You're the guide. You've been there. You've done that. And so I like enjoy those conversations with different brands that we serve, just trying to get them to think a little bit differently. Their video that's supposed to be about themselves isn't about them. It's actually about the person that they're trying to influence
Yeah.
and speak to. So I think just the more you can dig deep into who is that person, what do they care about, why, asking the question why is always really important. And then from there, all the creative just trickles down naturally.
Yeah, and I think that transcends all trends in general. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I think that maybe small businesses are a little bit more susceptible to this, but they'll see a piece of or a video that does really well, or it's like a style that's trending, and they'll do it just for the trend. Where it's like what you're saying is, but that might not be relevant to your audience, and so something that is relevant will always win out over something that isn't, right?
Yeah, there is the tactical level, right? So that's like at the visionary level of what we're
Yeah,
doing and why, who we're talking to. But that's the tactical level. I get it, man. I'm on Instagram. If you don't catch me in 2 seconds, I'm gone.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's just how it is. So
yeah,
if we're making a piece of content, it could be something that it could be deeply meaningful, and it could be something that would be worthy of 5 minute video that starts off slow and immersive and all that. But if I know that it's going on Instagram, we're going to cut it in a way that we hook you in 3 seconds. And if
yeah,
it's going on LinkedIn, it's going to be a little bit different, right? We're going
yeah,
to change it up. And if it's going on YouTube,
yeah.
it's a 5 minute video, that's a whole different thing. Or is it
Right.
something that you've got 40 people and a captive audience? Hey, if
Right.
we got a captive audience and everybody's they're networking and they're talking and they've got their drinks and they all sit down to settle in, let's have a 60-second intro.
Yeah.
It's just like a palate wash. Just
Right.
relax. We're at this event. I'm always looking at what is the context for the video as well. And that's
Yeah.
like the tactical level.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think that's so important in and of itself to understand your platform as well as the audience. Mario, this has been awesome. Where can people learn more about you and where can people learn more about Castleview?
Yeah, Castleview is at castleview.agency. and we are currently in the middle of a brand refresh and a whole new website. You can go to the existing site. It's okay, but I'll be a lot more excited about it probably in August.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
castleview.agency, and we're
Uh-huh.
also castleview.agency on Instagram. And then my personal filmmaker stuff is Mattei Visuals, Mattei Visuals. So you can do at Mattei Visuals on Instagram or matteivisuals.com. And like I've got my cinematography demo reel up there and things like
That's
that.
awesome. That's cool. I love that you have your own personal thing as well as your business. Very nice. Mario, thank you again so much for being on. This is really great.
Yeah, I love what you guys are doing, and maybe we can collaborate too.
Yes.